Hello everybody, today we're going to take a look at this Seiko. This Seiko is what I nicknamed Batman because it comes in a fully PVD, black PVD case, and it has a blue second hand. So that is why I nickname it Seiko Batman, because of the black and blue theme. The reference number of this piece is SNDE09P1. This is my one and only black ion plated or PVD piece. PVD stands for physical vapor deposition. So unlike electroplating, where a metal is plated with another by methods of soaking them in aqueous solution and conducting electricity between the two metal, PVD or black ion is another method of coating where the metal, the base metal, is bombarded with tiny atomic size particle in a vacuum chamber. So as a result, the ion plating produce a more durable plating, as the bonding is in I would say atomic or microscopic level as compared to electroplating. So I will try to put a link down in the description below if you're interested to know more about PVD or ion plating. So let's get straight into the specification of this watch. The diameter of this watch is 40 millimeters. It has a thickness of 10.3 millimeters. It has a lug tip to lug tip distance of 46.3 millimeters. It has a lug width of 20 millimeters. The case is fully polished and it has a black ion coating, so it's a glossy black finish. The top is a Seiko's flat hardlex crystal. The crystal is without any anti-reflective coating, but the watch is quite legible because normal mineral glass, they are less reflective than sapphire. So even without an AR coating, the watch is quite legible. And due to the fact that the contrast of the dial is quite is there, so that it makes the watch very legible. The crown is not signed, however. It's just a normal polished crown. And if you were to know by now, this is a quartz piece. You can see the second hand sticking. So we'll go into a little more into the movement later on in the video. There are two pushers because this one is a quartz chronograph. So there's a pusher at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock position. The main crown is just pull push. It's not screw down. Okay, and it has a date window that also comes with a quick setting. So by pressing the 2 o'clock pusher, you can start the chronograph function of the watch. Okay. So as you can see, the main blue second hand is to count the second, and the sub dial here there is to count 1/20th of a second. I will try to stop the chronograph and move the hour hands away. So to stop the chronograph, you press this again, and then to reset, press the 4 o'clock pusher. Okay. So the top is 1/1020th seconds. The main second hand counts the actual second that is lapsed, and the bottom here is to count the minute. So after a minute, the bottom second hand will move once. And actually, if you can see, there are two hands on the small sub dials because it can actually track up to, if I'm not mistaken, 12 hours. This watch also has a split function, meaning that let's say if you want to time two separate events. So let's say if we press the stopwatch to start to time the first event. So for example, let's say if you have two runners doing a sprint, then once the first runner crosses the finish line, you would like to measure the time, but still at the same time you want to measure the time of the second runner. So you just press the 4 o'clock when the chronograph is running. So with that, you can actually take note of the time. For example, now it's 20 seconds, and make you 20 point something seconds, for example. But at the back of the watch, the time is still running. So if you're pressing this button again, the chronograph will resume. See, just now the second hands just jump straight into whatever seconds that is lapsed. So let's say the second runner crosses the finish line. So with that, you can get the time of the second runner. This piece here is powered by the Seiko 7092. It's a very common quartz chronograph that is used in a lot of Seiko quartz chronograph. It has a rated accuracy of plus minus 15 seconds per month. Of course, this being a quartz, I did not do any timing on this piece. Let's get to the back of the watch. So the back is a solid screw down case back. There's nothing special. As you can see, there's a Seiko engrave and a water resistant 10 bar stainless steel, and the movement engraved. Okay, the bracelet is again fully polished. It's high gloss. It's fully black iron coated. Okay. It has a normal push pin links. I think the links are hollow in my opinion, because I cannot really confirm that, but if I try to reflect, you can see that there's a folding, right? Okay, so this is very typical for entry-level Seiko piece, and this being an older model, I think is I believe it's launched in the early 2000s or late 90s. So Seiko tends to do that a lot with the quartz pieces. And the clasp is just a pressed metal, and then it's not PVD coated or black iron or anything. Okay, and it has hollow end links. The face is on this watch is the common point of interest here, because as you can see, it's I don't know, it seems crowded, but they did not overdo it. Okay, so as usual, the chronograph, as I mentioned earlier, it has 3 subdials. The dial at the 9 o'clock position is for you to keep track of the normal timekeeping, the normal second hand, and the top is the 1/20th seconds, and the bottom you can actually keep track of up to 12 hours of a chronograph. Let's say if you leave it running, and then all the markers are printed. I would say they are printed with Seiko's LumiBright, because if you were to look at it in the dark, all the indices, the numeral, they shines very bright in the dark. And then the dial itself has a glossy black color, and then the chapter ring has a matte finishing, and it's with all the minutes printed. Everything on the dial is printed from the Seiko, I think from the Seiko logo to the chronograph to the 100 meter. It has a date window that has a metal frame, and it has a matching black date wheel that is very nicely done. What's cool about this watch is the LumiBright, because if we were to look at it in the dark, there is a color differentiation between the hour and minute hands. I would try to put a loom shot for this so that you can get a clearer picture, but yep, that's the interesting part. Try to show how the loom looks in this natural lighting, but I'm not sure whether it's showing up, so I will use a UV light to blast the hour and the minute hands, as well as the hour markers. I hope that's enough. So I will try to cover up the watch. So if you can see by now, the minute hand actually has a bluish loom, whereas the hour hand and the hour markers, they have a green, typical normal green Seiko LumiBright color. So that is what makes this watch interesting. Okay, this is how the watch looks on my 6-inch wrist, with a fairly short lug to lug at about 46 millimeters. The watch still looks okay on my small wrist, and again, the curved lugs does help it wrap the wrist a little bit. Okay. Of course, it might look slightly larger than a typical 40 millimeters diameter watch because of the almost all dial feature of this piece. Because as you can see, the bezel is actually very small, and the crystal and including the chapter ring is all almost all dial, so it looks bigger than it is. Alright, with the wrist shot done, it's time to wrap up this video. I have had this piece for slightly over 5 years now, and it's holding up pretty well. I believe the black iron coating does makes it last longer than the typical electroplating. But to be honest, I don't really wear this a lot because I'm afraid that I might induce a lot of scratches on it. But yeah, I think you can see some fine scratches, but to me it still holds up pretty well for a 5-year-old piece. And why did I got this then? Because back in the days, especially in the I don't know, maybe early 2010s or that time, I had this craze for chronograph watches. Of course, back then I couldn't afford like automatic or mechanical chronograph, so quartz is the only way that I could enjoy chronograph. And if you compare Seiko to, like, for example, Citizen does have a lot of quartz chronograph pieces as well, but they tends to be on the larger size. And at that time, Seiko still kept to a modest 40 millimeters quartz. So back then, I actually have quite some pieces of Seiko's quartz chronograph. I don't know why back then, because I just have this craze for chronograph piece. Alright, that's it for this video. So if you have anything in your mind, please drop them down in the comments below, and please like this video if you like it, and please just hit the thumbs down button if you don't like it. And please just do me a favor by putting in the comments why you did not like this video, so that I can improve better. And as usual, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It does help me a lot. And please don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, gfw_watch, for more watch related content. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.